I get the privilege to have time with you guys. Are you ready? First, I want to celebrate one of the beautiful women in our house. I have a picture, and this is Miss Julie Kennedy with a group of Latin people, Spanish speaking. She partners with Dee, who is at Thomas E. Kern's school, and she teaches English classes. It's one of the ways she serves our community. And Dee says that people come, not just parents, but other people come from Easley and Anderson to come and receive her classes. And I just thought it was so cool because she just does it as a volunteer. And what an awesome thing to just help people in a new land where you don't speak the language. It's very, it just constricts things. And so thankful, just honor. You see Julie, she's on the right side. She's the only light-haired woman in there. And as well, I want to highlight Dee. She works at Thomas E. Kern's Elementary, and she's created a mentoring program so that she loves to pair adults with kids to help meet with them weekly to kind of be a place of support, a place of safety and encouragement. And if you would be interested in doing that, you can talk to Dee, who's here in the front row. It's really cool. I know people who have helped in that, and it's really life-giving. It's fun to be able to give away. And I just experienced in my own life adults who were kind and generous and gave out of their overflow. They raised their own families, but then because they were so kind people, they would allow me to be under their covering, and I got to receive from really great people because they were generous. And so we want to be able to give back and do that as well. So if you're interested in being that for any other kids and you have margin in your life to go once a week down to the school, please go talk to Dee. One more opportunity that I'm really excited about is we love to continue to sow into different places in Greenville and always looking for places to give because we receive so much in God. We receive so much hope and love and healing, and He's such a good provider that we love to be a resource everywhere we go. And there is a skate park in Poe Mill neighborhood, and there's a skate church that meets there. So we've been doing different things just to support them and sow into them. And we are doing a work day this coming Saturday at 9 a.m. at the skate park in Poe Mill. And we'd love to invite you if you'd want to come and get your hands dirty and help just make our community better. It's an awesome opportunity. We'd love to have you. But we will always continue to look for places just to give what we have where we are. And sometimes we'll do that individually and then sometimes as a community as well. And so we will always give you opportunities. So thankful to be here. I am excited to spend time talking with you. I'm like, Lord, help me to get my words right because there's so much stuff that I feel like He's inviting us into, but that He's also calling us, that He's calling us up. It's been a very swirly time the last couple weeks, just with the stuff that's going on in our nation, the videos that are circulating from Charlie Kirk being assassinated to the woman in Charlotte being killed. These are all in broad daylight. It feels like there's been another level of exposure happening. I traveled a lot when I was younger and in a lot of developing countries, and it was not abnormal to see pretty violent or to see things that are just extreme out in the open, and even spiritual stuff. It wouldn't be weird to see a demon being cast out or someone slithering on the floor at church. Like, it just was, everything was more exposed. But I feel like in the last few weeks, as these things have happened and the violence has happened in our nation, it feels like there's another level of exposure happening with the darkness in this land. And in it, we're kind of startled to an awakening as well. And so I'm excited to talk to you. But I also, I just feel like it's a sobering time for us. And I am really proud of our community. Eric mentioned this in the beginning, but I am seeing people who are different coming together and being gracious and kind to each other. And it's been our heart to gather people from all different walks of life and different spaces, culturally, ethnically, age, all around. I mean, you sit with people that come from very different church backgrounds. We have Bob Jones graduates. We have Bethel School of Ministry graduates. We have, as a spectrum, you name it. And we are thankful to be able to do that and to come and serve God together. We have people who parent their families very differently. We have people who believe in many different forms of education, and yet we all go to school together. Or not school, we do not go to school anymore. We all come to church together. We have lots of different microcultures represented here, and it's so beautiful, but it also is a bit perplexing when we are faced with a lot of different issues and things, because how do we do this together is the biggest thing. And Jesus in John 17, this is before he goes to the cross. And when you're talking some of your last words, you're like, these are kind of important. He prays for believers, and what he prays is something that I feel is really important and crucial for this time. And it's John 17, verse 20 through 23. It says, "My prayer is not for them alone. I pray also for those who will believe in me through their message, that all of them may be one. Father, just as you are in me and I am in you, may they also be in us, that the world may believe that you have sent me." Verse 22, "I have given them the glory that you gave me, that they may be one as we are one. Then the world will know that you sent me and have loved me even as you have loved, or that you have loved them, even as you have loved me." See, in being in unity, I mean, there's this big word, unity. It doesn't mean that we're all the same. That's one thing I love about humanity, is that we're all created in the image of God, and yet we are not the same at all. And then there's such a spectrum of humanity. And I think it's what makes everything really fun, and the uniqueness that we all carry. When I was growing up, whenever they would do the who's voted most popular, who's the smartest, who's the best looking, do you know what one I always won? Who's the most unique? I don't know what that tells you about me. It was either that or most inspirational. But I've always really enjoyed the uniqueness of people, and I've never want to drum that down. But it is interesting, in times where things feel a little swirly, I see that as we are processing pain and passion, sometimes navigating it together can be quite challenging, because it actually requires more of us. We actually have to grow beyond ourselves to be able to walk with each other. So how in the world do we do that? And I just think our worship songs are the anthem, is only Jesus. We want Jesus. He's the best thing that we have. But who can do this on their own without his love, without his grace, without his power, to be able to walk with each other? There's been, we were in a week of prayer and fasting when this all went down. But I'm not a big social media person, but I got on social media when I started to hear some of the stuff that was going down, just so I could be informed, to know how to pray, to know what was taking place. And it's just crazy, the level of information that we have access to. Can I just say that? Like, just acknowledge it. This is a lot for us to take on, a lot for us to process. I don't know any time in history where we've been given that type of account. Like, these videos of people being murdered are just circulating, and anyone can watch them. And you don't just watch them, you actually hear what people want to say about them. And it's just almost traumatizing in itself. And so we're all here, and we are being subjected to this, if you're on any form of news or social media, and yet we're called to be one. And the thing that has stuck out to me and probably hit me and grieved me the most is that as I look around, and some of them are my friends, some of it might be just the algorithms. You know, in social media, Instagram specifically, if you watch a certain video, then it just feeds you those types of videos. So somewhere I must have clicked on something, but then I just got all these videos of people just, and they're mostly Christians, but they're just accusing and judging other people for how they're responding or not responding. And I'm like, what are we doing? I don't even know what to do with this. Like, I value our differences. I value the fact that we are called to different things. You know that we're all called, we're part of a body. Jesus is the head, we're part of the body, we're members of one another. In that, it's so much beauty, and we're dynamic when we're together. But the challenge is, if we're different members, we take up different parts. Like, even if you were to liken it to our human body, there is the liver, and it cleans things out. You have the feet, and it carries your body around. I'm so thankful for these parts. But in our passion, we're like, everybody should be a foot. Everybody should protect a feet. Everybody wear good shoes. The liver, shma, go clean yourself. But like, we care about the feet. It just feels like I start hearing us just taking one thing and making everything is about that. We will live and die with our passions, but I actually don't have space to value you. I don't have space to value what you're protecting because God has called me to this. The only thing that gets a little bit scary about that is everything is about me, what I'm called to, my opinion, and if you don't do like what I think, then maybe I should cancel you. Or maybe we should cancel your church. Or who are you even following God? I mean, that level of judgment, it scares me. It makes me sad. And I love passion. That's one of the things I'm really proud of is that we are passionate people. We have deep conviction, and I don't ever think we should lower and drum down our conviction. But sometimes in our passion, we do crazy things that isn't him. We might cut someone's ear off. Well, put that back on. That's not what I'm doing. That's what you were doing. Do you guys know that? Like, even in our passion, I want to normalize this, meaning if you're a passionate person and you have really strong opinions, it's because you're human. There's nothing wrong with you, but I do believe that we have an opportunity to adjust right now. I do believe that even as we're processing, many of us are really still figuring out, what does this actually mean? What are you doing, God? And the first thing I would say is we need to run to Jesus. We need to run to Jesus. He is the truth, the way, and the life. And those are great scriptures. But it is the truth that is our life way forward right now. If we want to be a body that's pleasing to him, I don't know another pathway forward. And more than being discipled by how we feel in our opinions, it's an opportunity to be discipled by him. If we're going to be in unity, there is one thing that we can unify around. And we can unite ourselves around. And I can tell you that it's not going to be our feelings. It's not going to be even your opinions, even though I like mine. I mean, I think my opinions are really good. Yes, thank you. Most of the time. Sometimes, even I bother myself. But we have an option of what we want to do, what we want to grab onto, and what we don't need to, what we need to surrender. One thing is been very clear is we're in a war. We're in a war, and there is the kingdom of light, and there is darkness. And it is a swirl, and there is a shaking happening, and we've been startled to this wake-up call. And I believe it's a call to action. But the thing about action is, what kind of action are you taking? And do you recognize that you're in a war? Because in it, we have to be very wise and careful how we move forward. And especially as passionate people. Think about passion as you don't think as much. You're just like, let's go. I'm like, this is so beautiful. But do you know where you're going and who you're fighting? Because I'm sad, but some of the stuff that I see. Martin Luther King Jr., he was in a time in our nation where there was just a lot of darkness in our land. And I love this quote. He says, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. We have to know what we're partnering with so that we know how to move forward and we're not in the same spirit as the evil. And it's weird because a lot of the people that I'm listening to, they sound like, oh, this is so beautiful. And then somewhere mixed in it is like, did you just accuse your brother and sister of something? Whoa, you're just judging them? I'm feeling the fear of God and a little scared right now. It's just crazy the permission that we feel and the thought that we know enough to be able to judge everything accurately and to call each other out. Ephesians 6:12 says, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood. It's not against flesh and blood. It's the craziest thing is we start and try to deal with everything at this level, and that is not where things are happening. It is much greater than that. It is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realm. So we know that we're in a fight, but do we know who the enemy is? Is it the people on social media? Is it the people that you don't agree with? Is it the Christians who responded a certain way? Is it the homeschool families? Or the public school families? Which one is the enemy? Or is it your neighbor? Is it the person next to you? These are things that we're getting to navigate, and you can tell what you think by who you're judging. You can tell what you think by who you're accusing. Well, I wouldn't do it that way. So interesting what we think we know. I think it's good for us to be aware that we're in a fight, that we're not fighting against flesh and blood, but there are swirling spirits trying to rear their head and trying to get in. And you can tell, even as we're processing pain, and understandably so, it's a very grievous time. At the same time, there's a lot of beautiful things happen in the response and people stepping up. So I love the call to action, but in our passion, let us not forget what we're partnering with. That we are walking in the spirit, not the flesh. It's a time for us in the spirit to be full of his spirit, to be sharp, to be wise, and to be discerning right now. Because what I hear in the processing is, yes, I love your passion for God. I love your deep conviction. And then I feel like there's a mixture of the spirit of accusation. And I'm like, was that my father who sounds like that? Who sounds like that? Who's the accuser? That just gets into scary territory. And I just feel like there's mixture. Whatever we feed will grow. That's just what happens. Are we feeding our minds? Are we feeding our flesh? Or are we in spaces before God of worship and prayer, reading our word, renewing our mind? If we know that we're in a war and we want to make sure to be honoring and to move forward in a way that's full of him, then we want to make sure and give our time to that. I love prayer, but I tell you, I have been so thankful for the last few weeks of the times of prayers that I've gotten to be in spaces with you guys. It's so special to be able to pray, to seek God, and to worship him together. And I want our spirits to be big, strong, clear, so we know how to move forward. And we cannot partner with hate, division, the spirit of murder. Because I'm seeing a mix all over the place. God's actually calling us in a different direction. We're not to take up arms against our brothers and sisters. Philippians 2, a lot of our scriptures have been out of there today, but Philippians 2, verses 1 through 9 says, therefore, if any encouragement from being united with Christ, if any comfort from his love, if any common sharing in the Spirit, if any tenderness of compassion, then make my joy complete by, I love this instruction from Paul. He says, by being like-minded, having the same love, being one in spirit and of one mind. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself, not looking to your own interest, but each of you to the interest of others. Continuing in verse 5. In your relations with one another, have the same mindset as Christ. This is a huge statement. First, we're to love God with all our heart, mind, strength, with all of our heart. And then the second one is to love your neighbor as yourself. He cares so much how we treat each other. And then he says, in your relationships with one another, have the same mindset as Jesus Christ. Then it gets even scarier from there when you read down. Because what did Jesus actually do? He gave his life for us. Like he was the ultimate example, and then we're called to do the same. We're like, yes, we love community. Are you ready to die? What does this actually mean? Verse 6, who being in the very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness, and being found in appearance as a man. He humbled himself by becoming obedient to death, even death on the cross. How do we actually walk in a space of unity when we're all so different? Should we all just change so we all look like each other and act and think like each other? I'm like, I don't think that is it. The beauty about unity is in our own uniqueness, we come and we choose love, and we're in the same mission and we're in the same spirit. There's something so dynamic and beautiful that the earth is longing for. I think the Lord is waiting for us to come to this place where we all surrender to him and therefore surrender to each other. But that does not mean uniformity. And I think that we drum down. I mean, who wants to live in a world like that? Like, life is so much more fun when we bring our uniqueness and our full selves. But I believe it's a call to surrender. I don't know how to move forward in this without being willing to surrender our perceptions, our opinions, and laying it down. Our preferences, lay it down. If you want to continue to do a deep, rich community, it will cost you at some point. We have to be willing to do this. See, Jesus says, to be my disciple, you must deny yourself, pick up your cross, and follow me. Who wants to be a disciple? I do. My question is, who's discipling you? I mean, I love it. I'm all like, yes, let's grow. Let's grow in emotional health. Let's grow in leadership development. Let's grow in all these things. But who is discipling us right now? Even in the church, who is discipling us? Because some of the stuff I'm hearing does not sound like him. That's not his words. That wasn't his ways. But I love the passion. And I want to be wholehearted people that are willing to lay down our lives. To deny yourselves and take up your cross is a call to a life of radical self-surrender and submission to God's will, which is central to being a Christian disciple. It means to put aside personal desires, goals, preferences to align with God's plan for your life. It's like 2-year-olds. What's a favorite word of a 2-year-old? No. That's right, Sawyers. Arian is not like that. A favorite word of a 2-year-old is no and mine, in mine, because it is natural part of development that as you get older and you're realizing I can make a choice different than my parents. So I say, no, we're not doing that. I'm my own person, and it's a beautiful part of development. But as we're developing, we don't stay there. Then your hope is that we progress where, oh yes, I can say no. Gosh, but I can share this with you. I can do something that I didn't choose to do because life isn't just about me. That's called growing and maturing, is you learn to give and contribute and to serve and to lay down. And I believe that as this time in our nation when things are being exposed, we have an opportunity to mature in love. We have an opportunity, regardless how we are experiencing things, regardless of what our preferences, our opinions, our deep convictions, how can I still choose you intimate and still, can I walk in truth and love? Is it possible? I do believe so. God calls us to walk in this. And can we grow beyond ourselves? We're called to be the church, to live in unity, and to put on love. And to walk in these places, we need his love. We need his power. We need his spirit in us. Because without it, all of this stuff is impossible. It's impossible to actually look at each other with a greater value for each other than we have for ourselves. I love, Socrates says, you don't know what you don't know. Super profound. And what they're experiencing, I was reading some different articles, with our access to so much information right now, there's a couple terms that they are saying are quite pervasive, and they've done some studies on them, and there's 2 of them. One is called naive realism, and one is called an illusion of information adequacy. And I'm going to read the definitions of both of them, and then I want to give you an example. But naive realism is a psychological bias where individuals insist that their perception of the world is objective and reasonable. The thing about perception is it can never be fully objective, because what we do is we take in information, we organize it, we distort it, and sometimes change it just for it to make sense in us. Even if you remember your childhood, your mom will go, that didn't happen like that. Well, that's how you remember it, because you're your own person, and for different reasons, we will change things to make sure it organizes into the way it works for us. And that's just part of how we make up things as humans. So our perceptions can never be fully objective, because we're just one person and we are doing our best to make sense of the information that we're receiving. Secondly, illusion of information adequacy. People assume that they have adequate information. They enter judgment and decision-making process with less humility and more confidence than they might if they were worrying whether they knew the whole story or not. Here's an example of this. There's a car at a stop sign, and a second car pulls up behind it. And when the stop sign clears, traffic clears, the first car doesn't move. So the second car, the driver of the second car assumes They have ample information to justify honking. I know this never happens to you in Greenville. I'm pretty sure I see them looking down at their phone. But they think that they have ample information to justify honking. Yet, as soon as a mother pushing her stroller across the intersection emerges from behind their field of vision, it becomes clear that they have lacked crucial information which the first driver possessed. You're like, oh, that never happens to me. Honk and the hands. That's when you know it's really bad. No, I don't do the hands. Mm-mm. So both parties approach the situation identically. This is interesting. Nobody should drive over pedestrians pushing baby strollers. Agreed? Both drivers are like, no, I wouldn't do that. But rather, it is the second driver's assumption. This is when it gets scary, guys. Assumption that they have enough information, which leads to the misunderstanding. This is happening left and right now. With information, we get a little piece of information and we think we know it all, especially to have an opinion and to know what's right and what you should do and what you should not do. This did on social media, that's basically what's swirling all around, and we're trying to make sense of stuff. The very thing that's happening all around, people judging others' actions and beliefs because they assume that they possess enough relevant information to make fair evaluations. As a result, perceivers misunderstand others' attitudes, opinions, and beliefs, even though their perceivers might share the same perspective if they were privy to the same information. This is really huge to understand. I do believe it's a time for us to grow and to adjust. Even as we're trying to figure stuff out, I believe that the Lord is calling him to himself, but also to grow and mature in love so that we can be one. Mary T. Lathrop, she wrote a poem in 1895, and it was called Judge Softly or Walk a Mile in His Moccasins. And in this beautiful poem, she describes how we view one person and their behavior and what's going on, and we would never know what they're experiencing, and when we're so fast to judge, unless we were to actually get in their own shoes and walk in that space, we might have a little bit more understanding, a little bit more compassion versus judgment. So I believe that is the opportunity that we have right now. Instead of picking up a stone to throw it, instead of choosing accusation and judgment against the people around us, even in the midst of passion and in the midst of pain, I do believe there's another opportunity and option for us. And at Studio, with a multidimensional community, I'm proud of us, but also excited for what we can do together. To be able to do this, there's two things. First, I want to read a scripture. It's Colossians 3, verse 12 through 14. To walk in these places, this is great instruction for us. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourself. We all got dressed today. Some of us wore more summery stuff, some wore more fall-y stuff, but we all got clothes. When we're in a war, we need to be very aware of what we're putting on every day. So this is, I think, very crucial stuff. If our goal is to follow him and to know his will, then we need to be very aware of what we're putting on and partnering with every day. Clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. It's so important for us to be able to know his love, to be in love with him, and then to be able to give it to other people. It's the second greatest commandment, to love your neighbor as yourself. We don't pass go without love. We don't get into the place of unity without love. So what do we do? Here's my final charge. If you guys want to stand. My final charge is it's time to grow and to adjust. Time to grow in awareness. And awareness is I'm going to call that we see in part and that we might not know everything. Is that possible? Maybe next time we try to give our accurate, confident perspective on everything, that we would be aware that this is just what we see. And then secondly, that we would grow in humility. And this is my favorite definition of humility. Having an appropriate relationship with your opinions. I'm like, you guys have opinions? They're probably really good opinions. And like, not necessarily bad to have them, but what's your relationship with your opinions? They're just opinions. And then lastly, curiosity. Being curious about others, willing to hear and to learn. I do not know how to do unity and to be one without us growing in our ability to be able to listen to each other, but also be curious to ask. So curious, you stayed at that stop sign for a long time. What was going on? Was there something like just trying to understand? Instead of just making a judgment, what if we asked questions? That's a lofty idea. It feels like something so simple, but yet we are not very fast to do it. We'd rather cancel someone than ask them a question and seek to understand. So we have an opportunity right now and to grow and to adjust. And you can't see it very well, but on this slide, I put love over the middle of it. More than anything, we want to grow in love. We need more love. Why don't you grab a hand of the person next to you?